Talks Football, and welcome back to a live show after a day where I honestly can't think of really any positives other than Onana, and I just have a lot of sympathy for Rasmus Højlund and some of the players that have joined Manchester United. It's a very dark day and it is a bit of a crisis meeting. We're going to be having some guests joining us in about 10 minutes to talk about the problems and troubles at United, but there's some big question marks over Ten Hag tonight. We're going to be discussing, when we've got people in the show later, about has Ten Hag sacked himself? Is he going to sack himself if he continues this way? We've got to have some uncomfortable conversations about Marcus Rashford, but most importantly, as a note of this video, massive changes are needed at Manchester United, starting with those at the very top of the club, the Glazers, because at the end of the day, I am Ten Hag in. I am Ten Hag in right now. But the main reason I am Ten Hag in is three reasons. I've got three reasons why I'm Ten Hag in. One, because I watched what he did at Ajax, and he played unbelievable football at Ajax. He was unbelievable at Ajax. And I'm almost at the situation where, do Man United ruin managers? You know how we ruin players? Do Man United ruin managers? The second reason I'm Ten Hag in is because the people above Ten Hag need to go before Ten Hag. Whoever replaces Ten Hag will be in the same situation as Ten Hag right now, the same situation as Oli was in, until those at the top of the club go. And the final reason I'm Ten Hag in is I just think you have to give managers time, because I think that these players are rotten and we need time to get rid of some of the rotten players at this club. So there's three reasons right now why I'm still Ten Hag in: because of what he did at Ajax, because of how changes are needed at the top of the club, big changes needed at the top of the club, starting with the Glazers. And the final reason I'm Ten Hag in is just because I think these players are rotten. But I think today, after the football we played, all blame is on Ten Hag. I will be very critical of Ten Hag today. We're going to be critical of Ten Hag in this live stream because the style of football Manchester United are playing is not good enough. There's a point where injuries are an excuse, but you look at Ange Postecoglou, you look at, what's his name? I just forgot the name of the Brighton manager. How have I forgot his name? I was about to say Unai Emery. Well, Unai Emery, but it was De Zerbi. You look at De Zerbi and you think there's got to be some question marks under Ten Hag, because I like Ten Hag. And I'm at a point where I know the biggest problem at this club is far beyond the manager. But the way we played today, the substitutions from Ten Hag was dreadful. Like, if you are Ten Hag out right now, it's becoming a fair point of view. When people were Ten Hag out 2 games into the season, I thought, you're mad, you're idiots. Do you know what I mean? But he lost the game today, and the last 3 wins haven't been convincing. And we do have to have some question marks over the style of football is non-existent. And this is my big problem with Ten Hag right now, as someone that is still Ten Hag in, is it feels no different from Oli. But my big problem is plan A isn't working, so where's the plan B? It feels like there's no plan B. It's like we're just going to keep going with what's not working. We're going to keep continuing to play the same crap football where we go direct, lob it over and hope Rashford does something. If Rashford is playing crap, why are we playing a style of football which is dependent on Rashford being in form when he's just been crap? Why can't Rashford go off? And this is what I'm like with Ten Hag at the moment. It's plan A hasn't worked since about March, April, because we were crap at the end of last season. And if plan A is not working, we need a plan B, and you're not trying a plan B. And when plan A is so reliant on Rashford scoring and Bruno being in top form, it's not going to work when Rashford and Bruno aren't in good form. When plan A completely avoids the midfield, but your best defenders in build-up, Martinez and Shaw, are completely injured, so you've got no one in build-up, you're in big trouble. And when plan A avoids the midfield and completely isolates Amrabat or Casemiro, or whoever's playing in midfield for Man United, and they get marked out of the game and we're really struggling to find the DM, you need a plan B. And my big question mark over Ten Hag is, it's time for plan B, because if you continue plan A, you're going to be sacked, and you're going to be fairly sacked. Now, the reason I don't think Ten Hag will be sacked, there are reports coming out that Ten Hag's job is in immense danger. There are some reports coming out that Ten Hag's job's on the line. If Ten Hag keeps doing what he's doing today, he's going to sack himself. Is there a way back? And I've seen people tweeting, and I've seen people saying today that they think it's the end of the road for Ten Hag. Not because he's going to get sacked after tonight's match, but because he can't see us coming back from this, because Ten Hag is stubborn. But also, there's this thing at Manchester United that as soon as things go wrong, things can't get better. These players give up. A lot of people are saying there's no hope for Ten Hag because they think these players will completely and utterly give up. And Ten Hag's essentially gone from here out. It's just a matter of how long he stays. Now, I think because of the lack of money and finances at the club, they can't afford to sack a manager. So I don't think that Ten Hag will ultimately be sacked soon. But if he does continue to do plan A, which is not working, I think he will sack himself. I'm Ten Hag in because of what he did at Ajax. I'm Ten Hag in because I think these players are a disgrace and they'll throw the next manager under the bus. And I'm Ten Hag in because I want a full sale more than anything. I don't care about the manager. I care about the ownership more than anything else right now, because whoever replaces Ten Hag and whoever is available to replace Ten Hag and whatever coach wants to come to United, and I think right now top coaches don't want to come to United because I do think we women coaches, will be in the same situation until big changes happen at United and massive changes need to happen at the top. But we have to talk about it. We have to talk about the game. I want to get you guys involved in the chat. We've got to have some serious conversation as well. We have to have conversation about, the players. Gaz says he's lost the players. And the question to you guys, and I want your thoughts on this, it'll be interesting to see, is has Ten Hag lost the players? Has he lost the dressing room? It's not hard to lose the dressing room because we know what these players are like. But has he lost the dressing room? And I'm not sure what plan A is. I don't think the squad knows. And Alex B's right here. We have a plan A, but it's like they don't really know. It's like we follow a plan for 20 minutes. We go 1-0 down. They don't know what to do and they're just kicking the ball around. Like the way I see United, our style of play, our plan A, is just relying on Bruno and Rashford moments of magic. We are a team that rely on moments, and moments aren't sustainable. And when those players that reliant on moments aren't good and aren't performing, the rest of the team is crap. You look at this team, yeah? You look at, okay, we're so reliant on Rashford last season. Rashford was the worst player on the pitch. That left-hand side, Rashford and Lindelof, you might as well have played with 9 men because we wouldn't have been any worse. Rashford and Lindelof, 2 worst players on the pitch today. That left-hand side was just a new level of awful. But you look at the situation, you look at Manchester United, you look at the absolute state we're in, and you think, well, what is the style of play? Because we have a plan A, but that plan A is literally hit the ball long. It is hit the ball long and hope Rashford scores. But when Rashford has been the worst player on the pitch, been unbelievably crap, when plan A isn't working, we need a plan B. We need, when people have sussed us out that we just want to go long and hit it up to Rashford or get Højlund to hold it up and play it onto Rashford or rely on Rashford to do a moment of brilliant. When people have sussed that out and Rashford's being marked out of the game and Rashford's not in confidence because Rashford actually had an opportunity to score today and he didn't, we need a plan B. But right now, we've not got a plan B. And it's not that we don't have a plan B, it's that Ten Hag doesn't want to persist with a plan B. He's being incredibly stubborn. And I'm at the point here, and maybe this is just me being overreactionary, play the kids. I'm at this point right now where I want to see Mejbri, I want to see Maino, I want to see Garnacho in our next starting 11. I don't want to see McTominay. I don't want to see Eriksen. I don't want to see Rashford. I want to see the bloody under-21s line up with maybe Varane and Højlund chucked in there. Do you know what I mean? Because the rest of the team, it's just, you don't have the words. It's unbelievably not good enough at all. Are we allowed to criticise Ten Hag now? He's been sacking himself for months. 100%. This is me. I'm Ten Hag in, but I'm critical of Ten Hag. I will criticise Ten Hag. I think he is sacking himself. I am Ten Hag in, but I will be very, very critical of Ten Hag. He is sacking himself. He is absolutely sacking himself. And, he has to change things up. And the question to you guys is, will he change things up? That's the thing, because you see, as someone that watched him play at Ajax, it was phenomenal football. Has he lost the dressing room? Is it too late? Because people are saying Ten Hag's done. Ten Hag is done already, because when they look at the situation, they go, these players, when things go wrong under a manager, these players can't pull themselves together. They can't. They give up. It's going to take a miracle now. And I don't want Ten Hag to be sacked. I want Ten Hag to turn things around. I want Ten Hag to succeed. I want to see Man United playing the style of football that Ajax played. I'm hoping this is Ten Hag's Arteta period where he does turn it around and does get good, because I want Ten Hag to succeed. I don't want to sack another manager, because I think then you have to go through the whole rebuild process again. This guy came third. This guy won us a trophy. I want it to work so badly with Ten Hag, but it's not that he's got to turn around a bad start as a manager. It's that he's got to be less stubborn, make changes, but also he's going to be working with a squad that give up, that have the mentality of a peanut. Do you know what I mean? He's got to be working with a squad that when things go wrong, when things go bad, this is a team that doesn't want to turn things around. This is a team that are only interested in themselves. This is a team of overpaid players that give up when they go 2-0 down in the Manchester derby. So the feeling that Ten Hag is done is gone already is because people are not necessarily maybe doubting that Ten Hag can't turn things around, because I know that Ten Hag's a good manager, and I think he's being ruined by United and ruined by his stubbornness, because we saw what he did at Ajax, and we saw how Ajax capitulated without Ten Hag. I think a lot of people is not that. Is that one? Yes, Ten Hag is sacking himself with those subs, with the stubbornness, but people are saying Ten Hag is done because these players, they're done with the manager. These players, when things go wrong, they have no interest in playing well and doing things. And that is the thing. It's built in bottling clubs since Sir Alex Ferguson. Many of the squads bottling now, short time, but doing it again. And this is the thing. You sack Ten Hag, you get another manager in, and we bottle it under the next manager. And it feels like this cycle of rinse and repeat that's never going to change at United as well. Give Erik Ten Hag his preferred choice players instead of what the owners want, and we'll see the difference. The owners have to be at blame. The owners are at massive fault today. And the only thing is, you look at Ten Hag, and I'll see if I can find it, and you look at the money Ten Hag's spent, and you look at his main transfer targets, and you think, crap, what is this? One sec. You think, look at the money we spent. And a lot of people and a lot of anger at Ten Hag is directed because of the money he spent, And you look at Anthony, you look at Mount, and they're not good signings at all. That it feels like money has been wasted. But at the same time, you go, why is Ten Hag responsible for the transfers? Why don't we have proper footballing people in that will know Ten Hag's philosophy, know what Ten Hag wants to do, and actually have gone and got Gravenberch, a proper number 8 that can carry the ball and can rest the ball for £35 million, rather than spend £50 million on someone like Mason Mount, who we didn't need. And I like Mason Mount, and I want him to do well, but he was never a signing we need. And I do look at this and I go, and people were hating on Ten Hag because of this and the money that's been spent. But I don't think this is ultimately Ten Hag's fault. Ten Hag wanted Mount, Ten Hag wanted Anthony, but if you had a proper director of football in who was actually finding players like Maxim Kakare, who would be much better in that 8 role than Mason Mount for half the price, you would then realise that actually there were people out there that would get players that suit Ten Hag's philosophy. Ten Hag is going with players he knows. That's the thing. He just consistently going with players he knows because he doesn't trust the recruitment. And the players he knows, Anthony, 85 million is a joke. Højlund, I think, is a very good player and will become good. Casemiro, we overpaid for. We needed him last season, but it was a desperation signing. We should have gone for a young DM like a Chouameni or like a long-term young DM. Obviously, we missed out on Frankie de Jong, but I don't think Casemiro is a negative one. But Anthony is just crap. I don't think Anthony's even going to be worth 40 million. Højlund, I believe, will be worth the money at this. A quality player in Højlund. Mount, we didn't need. Mason Mount's a good player, but we didn't need him. Like, he doesn't suit the way we play. But if Bruno continues putting in his stinkers, you might as well play Mount as a 10. Casemiro, a bit old, bit overpriced, but it was a panic signing that I think we needed to do. Lissandro Martinez, I think, will be worth it. Annan, I thought was good today. I think will be worth it. Malassi, you can't really care about that fee. And the rest of them were just panic signings. But you do look at the signings of the Ten Hag and you think, what are some of these? What is the recruitment as well? But we've got Kaz joining in here as well. So I'm just going to introduce Kaz and, of course, read out this super chat. Kaz, how are you doing?
Alice, what do I tell you? I don't know. I'm trying to be reserved. Yeah, I feel like if anyone watched Dragon Ball Z, I feel like Piccolo right now, very reserved in the mountains, ready to explode when the Saiyans come. I've had enough, Alice. I've had enough. I'm sorry. Like, you know what it is? This hurt. It hurts. This is the.
Yeah.
See, I'm not hurt about the club too much. I'm hurt because I think I'm being selfish. I've never wanted, since Fergie's left, I've never wanted a manager to succeed so much. Maybe this is the first time of feeling, maybe, I don't know, like really wanting to back a manager to make sure we get somewhere. But I don't know how much more I've got. I don't think I have got any more to go. I'm 10 Hag out. I'm sorry. Like, I think I've got my reasons. I think I'm backtracking a little bit, and I've got to say I think I'm wrong on this one. And we can always go back to injuries. We can always go back. We go back to anything. I'm reserving my anger for about an hour's time, yeah, because I don't want to ruin your stream because I can say some foul stuff, right? So I'm gonna be more relaxed with you because I feel like I can have an educational conversation with you where I know my stream is gonna be hectic and I've got Rivals fans blurting all in my face. Pause. A load of crap.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Look. as much as we can point upstairs, it's true. Jamie Carragher landed the minerals to what's it called?
Neville.
To Neville. You can point to the owners as much as you want. You can point to the recruitment. You can point to everything else. But when you've sold us fans a dream, how can I back that? I thought we was going to get some technical football on the pitch. I thought some of your signings were going to work. I thought that you laid down the law and the 2 players that you wanted out are now playing all your matches. How desperate are you? McTominay, Maguire, you didn't want him at first. Bruno's captain. I think most of us could have said something along the lines of that maybe he should have been captain, maybe he shouldn't have been captain, but the antics never backed up the answer in the first place. Who else could be captain? I can give you a couple names potentially. Look, no one's calling no one out at the moment. We can call out as much as we want, but I have got nothing to back. Like, it's not even about the result, Alice, right? For me.
Yes.
If I'm gonna lay the smack down right now, it's about exactly. I've got nothing. I'm tired. I'm actually tired. Like, I should be angry. I am angry deep inside. Yeah. But I'm just
tiring.
It's just like, how can you ban the philosophy and principles to go back to doing Ollie football and make it look even worse than Ollie football? So
I almost tweeted like Ollie again.
It's not about the results. Again, it's not about the result. It's about the way we could have lost that. As long as I'm seeing something, I'm okay to get behind it. But it's the same. Your Ten Hag is washed. That's the best way to go about it. He's washed. Right now, I've got my camera set on yellow. That's the tone I've got. I've got yellow tone.
I'm with you. It's so difficult because I'm still Ten Hag in, but if someone's Ten Hag out after today, I say I can't criticize you on that because the football we saw is, if he continues to do that, he's sacking himself. And Tox is with the super chat here saying sacking Ten Hag will not solve the issues, but Ten Hag's stubbornness is a problem and some players need to be sold. Glazers are the biggest issue. And I'm with him with Glazers being the biggest issue because I think if we don't change anything about the club, the manager that comes in to replace Ten Hag will probably be in this scenario in a few years' time. But you have to be very critical of Ten Hag at this point because it's the same thing every single game. When we win, it's not convincing. We've only had one convincing win, and that was against Palace's B team in the Carabao Cup. And it's like, I don't want Ten Hag to be sacked. And the reason I am Ten Hag in right now, and I said this at the start of my stream, is because I know what he did at Ajax. I'm getting that hope of what he did at Ajax, he did at United. And also I know that the next manager is going to probably have the same issues because I feel like, you know how they say Man United ruin players? Like if Bellingham had come to United over Dortmund, he'd have been ruined and he'd have been washed. It almost feels like we ruin managers at this point now. It's like, because we saw that the football Ten Hag played at Ajax was so attacking, it was so exciting. There was not a single Man United fan that was angry when we signed Ten Hag. When we got Mourinho, people were like, nah. When we got Ollie, people were like, nah. But when Ten Hag came in, we were all happy because we're like, this is a guy that does good football. And I think, as you said, it's the fact that we're not seeing good football at Man United and he's not changing it. And, you know, he's playing the same players that are playing crap and it's this long ball, long ball, long ball. And he has this hope and reliance that Rashford is going to do something out of nothing. But Rashford was the worst player on the pitch today. And, you know, I'm someone that is positive about Rashford. I like Rashford, whereas I know that you want him sold. But I will sit here today and go, Marcus Rashford does not deserve to wear a Man United shirt right now.
I'm gonna retract what I say on Rashford right now because now I was backing a manager and now I have to back a player, not all the players. Like Bruno Fernandes, not good enough to be a Man United captain, let alone player, in my opinion. I don't think it doesn't matter what manager you put him under. I think he's just gonna explode anyways. Rashford is being told to do a certain thing or job or two. I'm not gonna rush on him too tough, but I don't think he's good enough for this club either. If actually, you know what? I'm not going to retract any statements. He's not good enough either. We want football. Why? When are we going to stop backing mediocre players? When are we going to start rating the play? Why not play the kids? Play the kids. What are they going to do? They're going to run around and do everything you want, right? We ask for the bare minimum, right? The bare minimum. Work hard. If you ain't got the ability, work hard. You can't even do that. So Rashford today, pathetic. Bruno Fernandes today, pathetic. We can point to many of the players. I'm not even going to get onto Maguire. I'm not even going to get onto Evans or Dalot. Actually, none of the defense. Not even enough. None of them. Lindelof is a centre back that's got asked to do a job at left back. There is a man called Dalot who's played left back for more in his career, than right back. Right back mainly. And you're playing him at right back and a guy that's not even comfortable in the left-hand side of the game at left back. So that's one issue. You're allowing Dalot to get doubled up. Bruno is far out of reach because he's doing whatever he wants. Ill discipline, right? Rasmus Højlund, oh my word, he's raw, feeding off scraps. You brought off our only DM to play Scott McTominay there next to Ericsson, right? Because he thought, because Scott McTominay had a decent game there last time out against Copenhagen when he changed the game, it's going to happen again. Again, pathetic. Today, you can't even say Varane or Reguilon was even injured or they weren't fit or nothing. He said himself, it's a tactical reason. He is playing to get sacked right now. No, he is managing that team to get sacked right now. There's nothing you lot even in the comments. I really want someone to give me some hope, because I might change my mind tomorrow. I might change my mind next week. I'd rather reason with people in the comments to give me some sort of hope, to think I can actually think Ten Hag might be the guy to move us forward. But at the same time, as much as we need long-term options, we need quick fixes now as well before it gets worse.
So again, in January.
Talk about wanting the Glazers out, but there's still handbags of shops of bags from the United store in the bundles. You know, people, and we're not talking, you know what, if you come from overseas and anywhere else around the country that it's your first time at Old Trafford or it's your first time from overseas, as I was saying, I don't mind that. But there's your everyday people there still going into the mega store. So what's the point? We're not doing nothing to get them out. As much as we can say Glazers out on the internet and everything, no one's actually doing anything. But, 1958, whatever they're called, useless organization as well. Useless. Don't do nothing. Ain't got the bollocks to call off a game again. See, I'm getting a little bit frustrated. What are we doing Monday to Friday, as Jamie Carragher says? The Glazers don't run that's on the pitch. They don't come downstairs and say, yeah, you know what, guys, get your boots on in their American accents. Ten Hag, Van der Gag, and Steve McLaren. Look at Michael Carrick and what's his name?
McKenna.
Look how brilliant they're doing. They're not good enough. They are good enough, clearly. So what's going on? I have so many questions that I want answers to. And you know what makes it worse, Alice? It's the post-match comments that just tops everything off. How can you say we executed the game plan perfectly or something along those lines? I've had enough. I didn't know Joel Glazer had boots and a flipping training philosophy in mind of how he wants us to play. Because you know what, typically owners, as we could say, usually give the managers a direction of how they want to play football. That's one criticism. We brought him in because we thought we were going to play pretty football. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is not about the ownership right now. This is about what we've seen for the last 8, 9, 10, 12 months.
Yeah.
Pathetic. It's pathetic.
I'm with you on some points. I think, the ownership is 100% the biggest problem at United. And I think the next manager under this ownership will just ultimately struggle, because I generally think that the ownership ruins managers. But you have to be critical of Ten Hag, because you have to think, what are we doing in training? Like, what are we executing on the pitch? Like, even when we're in the final third, where's the runs? Where's the movement? There was a chance when McTominay could have played it into Højlund in one of the opening minutes. And it's like the decision-making in the final third is like awful. Their lack of IQ is awful. When we go 1-0 down, there's no game plan. And I think the worst part is I don't think Man City looked that good for most parts of the games. We just made it so easy for them. It was like a training session. And this was the worst thing is, if it wasn't for Onana pulling off some great saves, and he was like him and Højlund were the only things positive right now I could take from that match. And I just felt sorry for Højlund. It was more sympathy for him. But you just look at it and you thought that Man City were just having a little training match against their under-16 side. It literally felt like that.
Look, I hear it. And even that, look, I'm looking at comments. I don't usually read into them because they can get kind of toxic, but you've got a really good, solid fan base and solid chat. So big up the chat on Alice's football talk, man. It's massive, man. I honestly, you lot are sick. I'm gonna challenge that. It's kind of nonsense comparing United to a championship side. Is it really though? Because last time I checked, we got outplayed by Burnley and Sheffield United. Last time I see them play football and whatnot, they're getting results like a championship side. Is it really crazy to say that? If you come up against one of the better sides like Leicester City, who says we don't get outplayed by Harry Winks, out of all people? So look,
it's scary, yeah.
It's scary. It's scary. Look, Ten Hag spent 400 million. He wanted Mason Mount. He wanted Anthony. Guess what? They're on the bench. He's got on the bench. Molasses out. I hear it. I know this. It doesn't matter what you put on that pitch. They're not going to play for him, and it's not going to happen. You know, we can always talk about the penalties, are soft, but guess what? Second half, they ran us ragged. Tactical management there, man management there, not anywhere in existence to be seen. You know, I just don't understand. I just really don't know where we go from here, Alice. Who do you bring in? I'm willing to just put interim about it and wait for the Sergeant Ratcliffe thing if it happens and the sporting side of things, and let them choose their manager, because they're not competent enough to choose a manager that's going to come in with a clear idea and a clear basis that us United fans can get behind. Today, we let Sir Bobby Charlton down in a derby.
Yeah.
Where's the heart? That's embarrassing. You know what? I'm so glad now my ballot decided not to go through in the end, because I thought it did. I usually get my ballot tickets, right, to go watch Man United. Didn't go through. Glad I didn't, because that's disgusting what I saw today. That's horrible.
Yeah, I feel sorry for every single fan that travels, paid money to go and see that and to see 3-0 down, because obviously we're talking about Ten Hag, and we've got to have a lot of criticism on Ten Hag because the substitutions today, the Amrabat sub, the Højlund sub, were awful, but the players gave up at 2-0 down. It's as soon as we went 2-0 down within a few minutes of the second half, those players gave up. Their head had gone. Their head had checked out. And that wound me up a bit today, because I think, you know, the most of the criticism will be on Ten Hag and his substitution, his lineup. You know, as you said, tactically not playing Reguilon or tactically playing Lindelof out of position, and, you know, taking off Amrabat and playing McTominay, who we wanted sold, who we know is not good enough, who we know is not a 6, at 6. And we wonder why we're 10 times worse in the second half, and City went through that. Was awful. But the attitude from the players today, Marcus Rashford, man born and bred, he should know what a derby is, and he wasn't even sort of pulling out of tackles, was walking around. And I thought, how can he stay on ahead of Rasmus Højlund? The boos when Rasmus Højlund came off said it all, because you could say what you want, but Højlund was one of the only players on the pitch today that was giving it all. He was trying to do something desperately, and I felt sorry for him. I thought, you're a young kid that's joined United and you're stuck in this toxic environment. You're trying to do everything, but you are getting nothing from your team. You're getting no service. You're in the graveyard shift. And I just thought, you know, the Ten Hag was tactically outclassed, we were technically outclassed, and we were physically outclassed by Man City today. And it was so hard to sort of watch that game and stay positive about United. And the only thing positive was maybe Højlund and Onana for me. But it's worrying when Ten Hag isn't getting things right. But it's just as worrying, I think, when the players, you know, aren't given 100%. Because this is my thing. Ten Hag has potential to turn it around. And I want Ten Hag to turn it around. You don't understand how much I want Ten Hag to turn it around, how much I want this to be a blip, how much I want this to be his Arteta period. Because, you know, things were good for moments of last season, but, and I'm going to get to this in a minute, things have sort of been poor since sort of March, April, but we had Bruno and Rashford's moment of magic to get us out of it. And we were narrowly winning games, but defensively we didn't have the injuries, and we were sort of winning 1-0 with a clean sheet. And I think things have been poor since April. And the big question is, will Ten Hag change it?
March. I remember just before the international break, I remember being at the game. I'm pretty sure it was against Southampton, and we end up drawing 0-0 potentially, and we should have had a penalty. It was 10 men. Casemiro got sent off. Pretty much around that area, it started declining. Yeah. I believe. I've been through thick and thin for this club. Last season, I went through 20. I think I went to about 23 home matches, right? Through the rain, there was a little bit of snow at the time as well. Yeah. Through the cold, you know, through the heat as well at the start of the season. I went through it all. And even this season, a couple matches. It's like, you can agree with it for one season. I'm trying to reason with these players as well. What you're saying, Bruno, the moments of magic. But the thing is, Alice, if you're going to play rubbish football, you're going to have to go get me a result. Because if not, you're moving on a game-by-game basis. We can keep moving in circles about these players. But last time I checked, Amrabat was his player. Last time I checked, Ericsson was his player. You could even say Johnny Evans. He trusts him enough to come in and do a job. That's his player. Not is his player. Højlund's his player. So if you want to point the finger, then let's point the fingers at the players that let's have the uncomfortable conversations. If we're going to say they're throwing him under the bus, the ones that weren't on the pitch today, would you say Harry Maguire threw under the bus today? I don't think so.
No, he was one of the better ones.
Victor Lindelof, I don't think he was not giving 100% today. I just thought he just got told to do a job that was required. And the
Haaland marking though for the second goal was...
I wouldn't say Dalot stopped running. You could say Dalot was out of position for the third goal, but that comes down to who was in the middle of the pitch. Scott McTominay, pointing the finger at that guy. Yeah, and I know
Yeah.
again, he's the same manager that wanted him out in this summer and didn't play him last year. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes, uncomfortable conversations, moany little whiny guy. Usually, I don't agree with Roy Keane, but today I did. Today I did. For majority of the quotes, Marcus Rashford, fanboy guy from Withenshaw, academy prospect. Again, he's had multiple managers since LVG. Why is no one pointing the finger at him all the time? It's because they got fanboys. There's too many player FCs in the fan base rather than Manchester United FC, and too busy to point the finger to always to the. Why is it we always point the fingers to the Glazers when we lose? Why can we not hold the manager to accountability? This sounds really negative for me, and I'm not a negative fan. I don't want to spew negativity over the club that I love, but this is where it's got me to, because this is what the manager's making me do right now. It's what I'm seeing on the pitch. It's disgusting. If this is my stream, I'd be again. What positives can we even pick out? Anana?
Yeah. It's hard. I think that's the worst thing, as you said. Like, when we lost 3-1 to Arsenal, there was points of that game I was quite happy with, and I was like, another day we could have won 2-1. And when we lost 3-1 to Arsenal, I didn't feel awful after the game because, weirdly, it was one of our better performances. Not that, we've had any good performances this season, bar Palace, but it was like I was pretty negative, but I was like, I saw enough on that Arsenal game to go, we gave Arsenal a real game today. I think when so-and-so comes back from injury, it'll get better. But since then, it's got worse and worse. And earlier in the season, I was very positive. I was very like, this is just a blip. We'll turn it around. He lost the opening 2 games last season. I felt fine after Arsenal. But I think it's getting to a point here where we won 3 games in a row, but we knew that those 3 wins weren't convincing. Against Sheffield United, we were dreadful. Against Copenhagen, we barely got over the line. Against Brentford, it was too late, last-minute winners. And it's like, it feels like when we win, it's not enough to go, this is convincing me. We've had 14 games this season, and only 1 was convincing against Crystal Palace B-side. And it's just like, for me, I really want him to turn it around. I really want these to get better. But other than the Crystal Palace game, which is their B team in the Carabao Cup, I've not been convinced. And I want to go back to your point on Scott McTominay. A player that he wanted sold is now playing over Mason Mount that he begged to sign. And for me, I think Ten Hag is panicking. I tweeted earlier, I want Ten Hag to succeed. I'm not going to be Ten Hag out just yet. I'm going to give him a little bit longer to turn things around. But I said, I think he's losing the plot. I said, because when he's playing McTominay, who was desperate to sell, and not playing Mason Mount that he signed, it's like, and I was reading something earlier that someone said that when coaches, when they're worried they're going to be sacked, just play players they know that can score goals as a last-minute ditch attempt. And I'm like, is that why he just won't take Rashford off because he scored goals last season? Why he continues to play Bruno because he scored goals? Is he now continues to play McTominay because he can come on and score 2 goals? And I saw this guy who was, I can't remember his name, he was talking about managers when at the end they panic and they just play people they know can score goals and kind of abandon everything. I'm almost like, is Ten Hag panicking now? Has he lost the plot? Because McTominay's playing because he's scored 2 goals. Rashford's playing because Ten Hag knows he can score goals. He's like, I'm just going to continue to play him because I know how good he is. Bruno's playing because he scored goals. But surely you should go, these players, they score goals, but they're playing crap. I need to drop them, because the reason I think Ten Hag won the dressing room over last season is because Maguire was crap for 2 games. He dropped him. He even did big calls like dropping Ronaldo. Ten Hag came in, he dropped McFreddy, dropped Maguire, he dropped Ollie's favourites, and he rewarded people on form last season. This season, Ten Hag's taken a leaflet out of Ollie's book, more mirroring Ollie with the favourites. And I feel like he's lost the plot, taking Amrabat off and playing McTominay as a 6 who's not a 6, continuing to play the same players. And I'm at the point where I think Ten Hag is panicking and he's abandoned what he was wanting to do and just chuck on goal scorers. I don't know your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. It's the abandonment of philosophy and principles in the first place that sold us Manchester United fans, a whole. He sold us McDonald's. Like, honestly, that's what it's turned out to be. Like, Bruno gimmick right wing, it was cute at first, getting us results, to ensure that you played to the players' strengths of last year, got us somewhere, build off of that. There you go. So you in what you just said is completely correct, right? And then it's like, and then we go on for this. It's the continuous of stubbornness to play these players that don't warrant places in the team. Rashford, those comments the other day, what's that all about? I think it might have been yesterday, about playing through bad form regardless. He's going to start. He's going to play. And I'm thinking, oh, that must mean the world of good to someone like Garnacho, who's trying to get a starting place at his age, even though he shouldn't warrant a start at Man United because of his age, and maybe he's a little bit too raw to be at that level. But here we are. You know, Palestri must feel amazing. You know, when Ahmad comes back, I wonder what he's going to feel like, because he's got two central midfielders that are going to start ahead of him. You know, even though they're not right wingers. You know, same McTominay in attacking mid, just because he had a good spell at Scotland, just because he works in international football. He's gave him 3 or 4 starts and gave away 2 penalties, but yet good enough to start in a derby against your biggest against the most local rivals, biggest rivals. You could debate on that with Liverpool, but who said he wouldn't start? We know against Newcastle, he's a cup game, he might change things around. It's funny that in pre-season that the B team of Man United, which were the youngsters, were playing more football than the A team. You know, they just didn't have a recognised enough striker or any pace going on. You know, Jadon Sancho, man management, to say what you want of Jadon Sancho, but not being allowed into canteen to eat with your friends and stuff. That's disgusting. You know, like, in my opinion, that's isolation at its finest. So it's, again, we can pick out the good things in Ten Hag's structure of last year, but there's nothing good to even point out this year. We thought it was all about the youth. Really? You know, I look at, are you telling me there's not a good enough youngster in the academy in centre-back that could warrant a start over Johnny Evans before bringing him in? Why do you have to bring in experience? You've had all summer to get what you want. You got Mason Mount at first just to have him on the bench. What's wrong with Mason Mount all of a sudden? Can't he play? Again, we thought this guy was a tactical master. And I'm not saying he's anything better than Pep, but even I and you and any other fan can recognise that taking off Amrabat was a big mistake against someone like Manchester City, who was actually doing a 100%. Decent job at the time to lock things down in the middle when we're missing Casemiro. What is Casemiro all of a sudden? We remember we were pointing a finger at Casemiro. He brought him off and said we wanted to play more football. Is that what he did today? To play more football? Again, you know, like, we're just chasing shadows out there. And
that's the worrying thing.
And that's the thing going forward. Like, what are we going to continue to do? Chase shadows. Changing the manager is not going to do nothing. Yeah, but keeping the manager is also going to do nothing. So what are we going to do? Nothing? This is why I say bringing an interim. You know, I don't care anymore. It's like, I know it's not the right thing from the board to the manager, but if you can't get the best out of these players and half the squad, which are your players that are coming back and stuff like that, and you're not even got the fans on your side, and even in the Stretford, and that's meant to be singing your name, you know, the hardcore Man United fans or the fan base that you'd call them, aka top Reds, then where are we going to be? We're going to string it out all season and be like, you know what? The players need to go. He keeps his job, but we've seen nothing in progression. Because that's all we want as United fans the last 10 years, progression.
I 100% get your points. Like, I am very much Ten Hag in, like, so many problems at United, but I 100% understand why people, after recent performances, the way we're playing, are Ten Hag out. I'm at the point now where I'm giving it to Christmas, but if it is still like this at Christmas, when players come back from injury, still this favouritism, still these same performances, I feel like I will have to be Ten Hag out, which pains me a lot because, as you said, we thought this guy was a tactical genius. We saw what he did at Ajax. And I think the thing that hurts is we actually had hope that things were changing under this manager. He came in, he won us that Carabao Cup. He got us third place. Like, he got players like Dalot playing a lot better. There was improvement, you know, whether you like Rashford or not. There was a period last season for 3 months where Rashford just scored every single game. You know, he got us playing much better football. And then it kind of went wrong, as you said, in March time with Casemiro's cards and stuff. And I think, like, that's the thing for me. It's like, with Ten Hag, I really want him to succeed. I really want him to be successful. And I'm giving him to Christmas to turn this around because I still think, you know, as you said, bringing an interim, but I still think, you know, these players throw every manager under the bus, these owners, this structure. I just think whoever comes in to replace Ten Hag will be in the same situation as him. But we have to be in a position where we've got to hold Ten Hag accountable, because bringing Amrabat on at half time, it doesn't take a genius to know how that's going to end. You know, McTominay's not a 6, taking Amrabat off. You know, the tactics today, he completely lost us the game, because I thought first 20 minutes we were all right. Stupid penalty, absolute idiot from VAR. And then we know what happens when we go 1-0 down, the heads drop, but you're still in it at half time. We're still in the game at half time. Had he taken McTominay off for Mount, wouldn't have had an issue. Had he taken Eriksen off for Mount, wouldn't have had an issue, because they were poor. And we know Eriksen is better in possession-based games rather than big games. But to take Amrabat, your only number 6 off for Mount, that for me was, okay, if you keep doing that, you're going to get yourself sacked. Like, if he continues to take Amrabat off at half time and favour McTominay, who we know is not good enough, he's going to get himself sacked. And sort of just going back to your points and stuff, like, it's worrying. It's like, because it's not Mejbri. We haven't said this earlier, but Mejbri was playing well. Mount, he signed, and he's abandoned that.
Sign of the dressing room being lost because players are moaning and he's scared. Again, abandoning principles and the thing that us Man United fans got behind in the first place, aka the Ronaldo at the start of last season and so forth. And that's why we said it doesn't matter. The manager comes first. At this moment of time, I'm not even thinking of that. I'm thinking of the young ballers that are meant to be getting starts and that should be starting. Like Hannibal, again, would have been perfect for today. You know, he knows what it means to be probably in that team and to put in effort because he's trying to make a name for himself. Even Palestri might not be the greatest, but guess what? He's better than Bruno on right wing. You know, the guy's a criminal. Guy treats things like a grenade launcher. So we can sort all these players as much as we want, but it's unfair on others as well at the same time. I really don't get the Scott McTominay gimmick. It is confusing. Yeah. Why did you bring in Amrabat just to take him off? I don't even want to hear because he was on a yellow card. I've seen Trent get booked in the first 10 minutes of a yellow and kept their place in the team. I've seen Delo do it. I've seen many players get booked and keep and stay fresh.
He did it against Copenhagen as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it paid off against Copenhagen. Don't get me wrong, but it was always going to happen when you put Bruno back into the middle and make a few changes. And yet we're still playing counter-attacking football against Copenhagen. I would call them Copenhagen at this point because that's how we are right now. So we keep moving forward. You say about injuries coming back. What injuries are we talking about? Shaw Martinez. Martinez, yeah, don't get me wrong. Big miss. Sure, probably a big miss at that. But Malacia's back. Like he's there. He's on grass. Wan-Bissaka's on grass. Christmas is a while away. If you have a system in place, even the worst of players come off looking decent. I've seen Veltman, as a centre back, go right back in a system for for Brighton. He doesn't look out of place. Been there for a while now. So
the system's working. It's better.
Look, already making excuses. Amrabat head by Foden. They went head to head. That's what it means to be in a derby. Sometimes they both got booked. Doesn't mean he's doing anything reckless. He was an anytime, any place soon to get in the yellow. If he made another challenge that didn't get sent off, they shrug it off and he's got one more warning. I hear it, but we're making excuses out of our assholes here because we're trying to think of anything we can to make sure the finger can't be pointed at the manager for once. Anytime we put some sort of finger to point constructively towards the manager, or whether it's destructive at the same time in criticism, people get butthurt, and that's the truth. And you want to call yourself a positive fan. Sometimes I say, are you backing the manager or are you backing the manager blindly? Which one is it? And it doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't even matter if you're Ten Hag in or out. The whole situation is a mess.
Yeah,
in general. So whether it's Glazers out, they're not going nowhere. So buckle up. They're going to be here for a few more years, and we're in hopium and copium levels, thinking that Sir Jim is going to make bring in Paul Mitchell and the footballing structure because that's all we got to give off. So guess what? I see Tottenham. Yeah, they don't even like their owner. They don't like it in any shape, way, or form. They didn't like their recruitment, but somehow one man comes in and changes the board all of a sudden after playing brutal, absolute fossil fuel football.
Yeah, they've rebranded so quick.
And he rebranded it in a space of 2 months. It's a bit like Pochettino, a little sense. In pre-season, they're playing some really nice ball under in pre-season. I watched a lot of the teams pre-season this year. And he abandoned philosophy and put Levi Colbert left back, and look where that's got them. Nowhere. They're on worse points than us somehow, and they play decent football. They just can't score. But neither can we. So it's a tactical issue. Let's move on to the tactical point of it as well, Alice, right? So we talk about it's the player's fault. But why is it that all of our forwards, only out of all of them, why is there only one goal and an assist?
It's crazy. I saw that stat and I think we're not creating, we're not playing good football, but it has to go down to what happens in training. It has to go down to tactics. I think this is why I'm very critical of Ten Hag at the moment, because I think, we can blame the players all we want, but actually the way we are playing, it is just long ball, go direct. And we're almost relying on us to create something out of nothing because there's no movement off the ball. There's no triangles. When you watch Tottenham play, you can see their wingers go out wide. fullbacks invert, Maddison pass and move. Maddison will be on the edge of the box. The wingers will go wide to draw out the defenders. They'll put in a cross. Someone will make this run. You can see Tottenham, training ground, pattern to play. You can see where the fullbacks invert when Maddison does this. You can see everything Tottenham do. When Man United get the ball, it is like statues. It's like four players along the back, massive hole in the midfield, loads of attackers, lob it up, hope that Højlund holds it up and lays it on, and that Rashford actually beats his man, which he just can't even seem to beat his man at the moment, or we just lob in a cross in the box and we don't have natural headers. There's nothing that's being created. There's no style of play. And this is what worries me, because when we look at Ten Hag, and you spoke about Pochettino's preseason, but when you look at the first preseason under Ten Hag, Sancho, Martial, Rashford, we had quite a promising first preseason under Ten Hag. Then we obviously just, started the season poorly. And then post-World Cup United, we had like a 10, 14 game run, sort of December, January, February time. Well, we were kind of playing good football. And, it was a little bit counter-attacking, but it was more possession-based. It was playing good football. And it's like, we saw Ten Hag play good football in preseason. We saw Ten Hag play good football for 2-3 months last season. Why has he abandoned that? Because we could say it's about injuries and stuff, but the bulk of the injuries are back to an extent now. It's like we were playing kind of good stuff, and then he went on about the summer wanting to be a transition-based time, transition. And like my biggest fear is this what he wants to do in the long term, or is this his way he sees of getting by and getting results? Has he got so much pressure on as a manager that he's abandoned his philosophy? He's abandoned the way that he maybe wants to play to try and get results?
Again, more questions that can't be answered right now. This is it. Why are we? What is it? October. He joined the club. What, May? I think about May.
Yeah. June, May. Yeah.
So he's been here for about 17 months, roughly. Let's give it June. Let's say 16 months, and we're still asking questions. Like the first bulk, you're allowed to sway the question and let them be answered later. But again, more questions, You point to it again. We could say, look, you wanted Anthony, you benched him today. You wanted Mount, you benched him today again.
Yeah.
You wanted Malacia as well. Good, decent backup to Shaw, but again, you saw Shaw do his little thing where he plays decent for a while, benches Malacia. I thought he was meant to be the inverted fullback that we wanted. Martinez is there, don't get wrong. Okay, fair enough. Varane is there, it's been injured, fair enough.
Yeah.
Delo was there, not really playing into his strengths, really, if I'm being honest, but he's playing all right. Wan-Bissaka got the best out of him. Don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back. And then you had all the chance in the world to go get midfielders. You wanted Amrabat, you took him off today. You wanted him for a whole month just for it to be a loan. That's down to the club to secure that. But you wanted Amrabat. Let's make it clear. The club didn't. You wanted Amrabat. I still believe in Amrabat. I still believe in actually a few of these players to actually do a job.
I thought he was the best midfielder out of the three. I don't know why he got subbed off.
Again, see, do you get what I mean? It's just too many questions, not many answers, and a lot of if buts and maybes from all of us.
Yeah, and
we might be Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. You know what? It might be a decent turnaround. It might be a different look. You might see Hannibal. You might see Mount and Amrabat, or maybe even Casemiro, and you feel like, we're playing some decent football. Pelestris and Garnachos and Martial, and all of a sudden, the bench that we had today that's meant to be on the pitch, because did you see the bench today, to be fair? It looks like it'll be a better footballing team than the one that we had on the pitch.
I literally said that.
Oh my word. We're playing football. Come Saturday, Sunday, there you go, Bruno Fernandes. There you go, Rashford. There you go, so forth and so forth. And then we're back to square one, and we're like, how? Why did we abandon what we had against Palace? Palace was our best performance of the season, B team or not. Go. Why do you not play the same team with maybe a couple changes, maybe one or two?
Yeah, and as you said about that B team, pre-season they were better. It's like the signs have been there since pre-season. They were better against Palace. They were better, in pre-season. The B team has been good. And I'm at a point now where it can't get much worse than the A team. I get that he's so reliant on this player and that player, but you're not playing the players you wanted to sign. I'm at the point now where, we haven't got much to lose. It can't get much worse. I said, I think in the 60th minute, take off Rashford, Ericsson and McTominay and bring on Garnacho, Maino and Mejbri, because at least with the young players, they've got a point to prove. They play like they have to play to keep their place. I feel like some of these players I'm on 300 grand a week. If I play crap, I'm just going to play week in, week out. There's that untouchable attitude, I think, at United as well. It's part of it, most of it is on the manager today, but I think we have attitude problems with certain players that I don't want to get into. But I think you're right. I think going into our next game, I want to see Maino. I want to see Mejbri. I want to see Pelistri. I want to see Garnacho. You know what? I want to see either Mount or Amrabat get a start because they were good in the Carabao Cup game. And do you know what the biggest eye opener for me in these last few games has been? Is that I feel like there's always like a scapegoat player. And then when that player doesn't play, everyone else is just as crap. You know how Casemiro...
Who's the scapegoat today? Go and pick one. Because you know what? As much as the players were bad, who could you really scapegoat today for why we didn't get some sort, maybe even a result, since we're playing that sort of football?
To be honest, it'd probably be 10-0 taken off Amrabat. But I guess Rashford would be the scapegoat today just because it was like invisible man. But it was a lot.
Again, I yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. Another scapegoat. I'm seeing Amrabat. Why is Amrabat even getting mentions? I don't even understand that. Like, it's Ten Hag. This is what I'm saying. Is this time around, you can't put it on the players. They got told instructions. He made changes. He picked that lineup, and here we are. We wouldn't be having this conversation if we played some progressive football like we did against Arsenal. Why did you ban that? Why is Anana even kicking the ball long, Alice?
I don't know.
I don't understand that. Why don't, if you're so bad at build-up structure and play, and he even made the comments himself after the game against, was it Copenhagen, that he talked about the structure and the midfield and stuff like that. But he's quick to point out that how many presses we got. Great, we can press the ball decently. Did you see any decent pressing today? Don't think so.
No.
So
we do press. There's a big hole. As soon as they break for a press, did you see? Oh, City through on goal.
I just don't understand why we don't have more players in build-up, like behind the ball. So if you're going to have an Amrabat to pick up the ball, why don't you get another one? Like, I saw Ericsson doing the deepest job today. Why was Amrabat there to split the centre-back so the full-backs can go further up a little bit? It's just little things like that. It's just, again, we can see as fans, but why can he not see it? Who's in his ears? Is it his assistant manager? Is it McLaren? You know, like, or is it all the pressure around in the media about who you need to play and who you can't play? Again, it's more questions, Alice.
That's the thing as well, because you remember when everything was so crap under Ollie and we're like, oh, Carrick, McKenna, what are they doing? What are they doing? Carrick and McKenna are doing brilliant stuff now. And it's like, well, if every fan can see there's a big issue with the midfield, there's no balance, build-up's crap, and we're doing the same, avoid the midfield, play long, direct transition play, and it's not working. It's like, as you said, what gets my head is there's all the coaches, McLaren, Van der Gaag. Is someone not saying in his ear, oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't working. Maybe we need a plan B. And I think you're absolutely right with that, because I'm thinking we can see this is not working. He made a comment about the midfield, but Amrabat and Maino are the only two players in the United squad. And I hate bringing up Maino because he's 18 and I think we put too much expectation on it. But Amrabat and Maino are the only players in the Man United squad that could break lines in midfield, that can actually has the ability to play the ball in midfield. And, you know, we struggle in build up in midfield. So maybe we should simplify it, add that balance of Amrabat, Casemiro together, or Amrabat, Maino, and actually go, let's start a plan B so we can actually play through midfield so we don't have to go long. But it's, Ten Hag doesn't like to change.
I've been waiting for that as well. I've been waiting for that as well. Even if it was Amrabat, Maino, and let's say Mount, or maybe even Hannibal for that, because I think he's better attacking wise. I'll be like, you know, I can get behind that, you know. Again, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for Mino. Like, I watched him against Charlton. I watched him in some of his under-21 clips and games, just like we're pretty much doing for Shea Lacey right now. Like, you know, when things come up, I see him in pre-season. I can see it. Like, through pre-season, I can see it. Then he got injured. Might have abandoned philosophy from there, potentially. Again, it's not going to happen, though. This is what I'm saying. It's the first time where I've been proper anti on Ten Hag. Extremely. First time. And it feels awful. It feels awful. But we just know, man, even if he did play that midfield, it's going to go back to playing McTominays and stuff. It's the stubbornness that gets on my nerves. And I've just had enough, you know. Yeah, I'm with you. I know you've got to get going onto your stream in about a few minutes. So before you leave, I was just going to ask, what is your lineup for, let's say, our next Premier League game? If you were manager right now, what's your start 11? All right, let me think as many kids as possible. Right back, we got no choice. Delo, of course, I'll keep Anana there. We don't actually have any youngster centre back, so probably Varane. He didn't play. He's our better centre back that's available right now. Harry Maguire, maybe, because he looks like one of the more confident players, so it makes sense. I wouldn't mind it. Dare I say, Reguilon, only fit left back. Maybe Malacia might be back on the bench by then. I don't think he will be. I don't have maybe at the end. So yeah, that's pretty much the back four I'd go with. That's not too far for starting. Then it goes to midfield. I'm playing Hannibal, playing Amrabat, playing Kobe. And then on the wings, I'm playing Garnacho, I'm playing Palestri. And because Højlund's played a lot, I would want to see Højlund with that. Maybe Martial then. I want to play that then. And then I'd go with that. Am I going to get it? Probably not.
That's literally the same as mine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. How do we fit in Mount? Never rated Mount anyways, so who cares? So that's what I'd go with.
Yeah. I'm with you on that, to be honest. I think you're at a point where you've just got to play the kids and stuff. Maybe you could put Mount in for Mejbri, but again, I don't know why Mejbri was dropped after a few good performances. I think it's
hierarchy
stuff.
Has to be hierarchy.
We have a problem under managers with favouritism. It seems to be a Man United thing. And look, I know you've got to get to your stream, so I'll let you exit in a bit, but just tell the viewers where they can find you, and I'm going to redirect them to you in a minute.
So my channel isn't a Man United channel. We do all teams, called Never a Foul. Like today, the penalty, that was never a foul. So if you wanted to type that in, or wait till Alice's stream is finished, it will point you over to my channel with Daps. He's a Man City fan, got an Arsenal fan, got a neutral fan on there. There's all sorts of different fans and whatnot. It's a lot of time being a Man United fan, and I'm gonna hold serious corn, and I'm gonna be venting. I'm probably gonna be swearing, unfortunately. And probably saying stuff I'm gonna regret tomorrow. So, if you want to see me let out some frustrations, I don't know. It might be constructed nicely. Who knows? It depends how I feel. Alice calms me down though, at least a little bit, with a constructive conversation. But yeah, cheers.
Big up, Kaz. All right, have fun in your stream. I'll redirect them to you in 2 minutes.
Cheers.
Right, guys, so that's Kaz. He's on his way out. I'm going to wrap up the stream in about 2 minutes for you, because Kaz is doing one with rival fans as well. But it just feels very low to be a Man United fan right now. I'm completely with everyone. I just think we're at a point where we have to be critical of the manager. I'm Ten Hag in still. Glazers' biggest problem, ownership biggest problem. Nothing's going to change until we change those at the top. But Ten Hag taking off Amrabat, taking off Højlund, persisting with the favourites, is getting to a point where it's frustrating, and it feels low because I've never wanted a manager to succeed as much as Ten Hag. I wanted Ten Hag. I want him to succeed. And when he's consistently doing the same thing, the same stubborn choices over and over and over again, I just sit here as a fan and I think, please, make some changes, Eric. I want you to succeed. I want you to do well, but he's got to change things. And it's getting to the point where I don't know if he's going to change things. I want to see the youngsters play. I want to see something different. I like to be positive. I like Rashford. I like Bruno, but they've not been good enough. I like a lot of our players, and I believe, and I saw this really good period from sort of November to March, where I was so convinced on Ten Hag. He turned the mentality around. He got us a trophy. He got us third place. And we saw a lot from Ten Hag, and I saw a lot to be positive on. And I don't think we had the best summer transfer window. I like Mason Mount. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he was the profile United needed to see. But I sit here as a Man United fan right now, and it just feels so negative because the wins aren't convincing. We've played 14 games this season, and the only game I'm convinced by is, of course, that game versus Crystal Palace, which was a Carabao Cup game. And I think that's the worst part. Had we, let's say, been on the same amount of points, got the same results, but let's say we beat Sheffield United 4-0, played brilliant football. We beat Copenhagen 3-1, played brilliant football. Let's say, even when we lost to teams like Brighton, we played absolutely brilliant football. Let's say even when we went and lost to Crystal Palace in the Premier League game, we played brilliant football, but we were unlucky and we didn't take our chances. If I was seeing good football, if I was seeing something to progress on, if I was seeing something to build upon, I would be quite positive. But I think it's the fact that the style of football we're playing, when we win, when we lose, is not sustainable. And I think my biggest fear is, I like Ten Hag, I trust Ten Hag, I want Ten Hag to succeed. I really, really want Ten Hag to succeed. But my biggest fear is he's not going to change things. He's going to persist with this. And this is what cost Ollie his job. Favouritism, persisting with this long ball style of football cost Ollie his job. And I'll be honest with you, I see Erik Ten Hag making the same mistakes Ollie was making as well. Yeah. What was... someone said this season is the worst season I've ever witnessed. Embarrassing. I mean, it's not. It's up there with the season 2 years ago. I'm not going to call it the worst season yet, because I still have faith that we can turn it around. I believe in our manager and stuff. But it could be up there. It could be our worst season. And the bad thing is, it's like we had our worst season 2 seasons ago. Are we going to be having a worse season 2 seasons later, when last year we finished third and we changed it around? Do you know what worries me the most about United is, why can't we have 2 good seasons in a row? Whenever I watch United, I sit here and I think, why are we not to have 2 good seasons in a row? Every time we have a good season and we finish in the top 4, the next season we bottle it. Finish second on Ollie, signed Ronaldo, signed this player, signed that player. We had a good season, and then we just go out there and bottle it. And then last season we had a good season. We had 3rd place. We won a trophy, something to build off. And then we go out there and we absolutely bottle it this season. I feel like we're cursed. We have one good season, we have a bad season. I think a lot of it comes down to recruitment. We don't recruit the right player. We don't have the right people. When we finish in the top 4, the Glazers are like, oh, the manager's got top 4, so we don't have to properly back him, because they've probably got a good enough squad to get top 4 the following season. And the worst part about this, and I'm going to be honest, the worst part about everything going on at this club right now is it's rinse and repeat, repetitive. And we know that we're not getting a full sale. We know that Ratcliffe is staying. We know that things aren't changing. The second season syndrome seems to hit us. But the worst part is, it's rinse and repeat under every manager. And unfortunately, we're not getting a full sale. And as Diego says, the structure at Manchester United is toxic. The structure at Manchester United is a complete and utter mess. And unfortunately, I sit here and I think, things don't look like changing. We're not getting the full sale. It is massively worrying. And look, people, I'll be back with a 5 films we learned tomorrow. I'll be back with some videos and stuff tomorrow. I'll be back with a live stream tomorrow. Well, I will be more interactive with the live chat tomorrow. But Kaz is about to go live in a few seconds on his Never a Foul podcast with rival people. We try and be more calm on this channel, but they'll be going in on the Never a Foul podcast. They'll be going in today. So if you need some United therapy, you need to let some anger out, go join that. I'm going to redirect you to the stream now. Smash the likes, smash the subscribes. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.